I just gotta say, I am super excited for today's video and beginning of a new series. LS400, folks. This is a 1996. This has been here for a while. We've been working on getting parts for it. This is gonna be episode 1 of this build. So we debated hard on filming this one. This is a lot of work. Let's take a quick walk around this car. Just look at it. It looks literally new. I mean, it's so beautiful. Look at that interior. It's immaculate is the word. Let's look at that. Thing looks beautiful. Body is all straight, no rust. Beautiful car. Even has the gold badges in the back here. Remember when those were an option? The gold badges. This was an option back in those days. Now here's the reality and something I want you to know about these cars. They're old, folks. That's a reality of these. As beautiful as this car is, as preserved as it is, everything is original. I mean, everything is original. So in this series, we're gonna do a lot of work to the engine, a lot of work to this car. This is gonna be a very long process, so you guys will see the whole thing transform mechanically. Body and interior, it's already there. Kind of like our 600,000 mile Lexus. This is actually close to that level, except the detailing and cleaning. And this has just over 100,000 miles, so it doesn't have a lot of miles too, but everything is original. It's been sitting for a very long time. So in today's video, we're gonna be working on the beautiful first generation 1UZ engine, an engine we actually never featured on this channel. Is this hood gonna stay? No, it's not. This is the first generation 1UZ engine. This has distributors, this has spark plug wires, this has everything leaking. I mean, everything leaking. Valve cover, seals, everything. Radiator, power steering pump is out. We're gonna go through this and rejuvenate this engine so the engine and the mechanicals of this car would match this beautiful body and this pristine interior. Let's get started. Lexus LS400 with gold badge gets the golden color or goldenish hood clamp. So we're starting off on the right foot here. These are very available, Amazon, whatnot. You can get them. Some of them are smaller. This one happens to be the wide mouth that fits these older Lexuses. Some of the newer cars will have thinner hood shock, but I am super excited, folks. I really love this engine. I love everything about it. I like that we are working on this. I've been really looking forward to this. Didn't know if in the end I was gonna be the one to do this project or one of the other techs in the shop, but super excited that it turns out to be me. And I sometimes come with a camera. That's pretty cool. So here's what we have over here. I'm really gonna have to manage my parts here well, because we got a lot that's gonna come off here. This radiator is one stair away from it breaking. This is the original one. You can see it has this color and has these micro cracks. I don't know if they appear on camera or not. It's yeah, seen better days. So here is the kind of the master plan that we have going on. Time belt's been done before. And let's look at the sticker here. It is 14 years old. So I think it's time. We're gonna do a full service to this engine. You guys will see the whole thing. I guess instead of talking about it, let's get to it because we got a lot to do here. I'm super excited about this. So I said this like 10 times. Now I'm not excited anymore. Where did the bolt go? I don't see it. We'll find it when we pull the radiator. But super excited about this. Very recently, unfortunately, we didn't film it, and sometimes I wonder why we didn't film it, Jose. We worked on that SC400, that we used it in a SC video. That was a beautiful car. We didn't film that one because we had to get it done. It's been here for a long time, but this one, we're not gonna waste the opportunity. Okay, so before we lift it up and drain the coolant so we can get this radiator out and really get to work, I'm gonna get a few things out of the way here. Let's cover it up complete. Figured we'd start with the engine stuff. This coolant. I don't know if you can see it from here going into the reservoir. It does have a little bit of a rusty color to it. Not terrible, not like that Altezza we worked on. It's actually still here waiting for the PCB valve. It just arrived today. Hopefully we'll get that going and done. Although, here's the new problem with the Altezza. This has nothing to do with the car itself. It's gonna snow tomorrow, so I don't know about you, but if you ask me, I would not want to be driving a rear-wheel drive rare car that makes more power than usual with super skinny tires. They're not all season. In the first snow of the year, I wouldn't want to do that if I were you. Extension. Let's get that. I believe there's another one somewhere down here. Okay, maybe I am wrong. Yes, I am wrong. These hoses have seen better days. This one is not working with me. Negotiations. Yes. No, it ripped. I figured that was going to happen. One of these hoses, I'm thinking it's this one. No, it's not this one. There's, I think, a PCV hose that runs underneath. It's discontinued. So we're going to have to use generic, unfortunately. But better than having a rock for a hose. This one actually came up, which I'm kind of surprised by. There we go. This is gonna stay. I do love this old school air filter, the round ones. It does need to be replaced. Maybe that was a bad idea. Ooh, hello. The old school round filters. Okay, let's see. I think we're ready to lift her up, drain the coolant, get everything unplugged from the bottom for the radiator, and then get the radiator out, fan out, and then we dig in. Shall we? Drain the coolant, and we'll take a quick peek around it. Not bad. It has color, but although it does look pink, I hope they didn't put pink coolant in this. While this drains, let's take a peek. There is a lot of oil. That's one thing about this. There is a lot of leaks. We'll slowly address them. There is leaks from the engine, mostly the valve covers. Rack is leaking and has inner IR tie rod plate. Transmission pan is leaking. Very typical stuff. All of this is original. Shocks are not shocking anymore. The struts are not strutting anymore. Original. And the spider web is here. I think we're also getting brakes and some ball joints. There's a lot of play in the suspension. But the worst part about this is the rear. You look at this. This is a rust-free car. I mean, wow, this looks amazing. I was shocked when I drove this car because it drove horrendous. You look at it, how clean it is. It's like, oh my God, this will drive like we're back in '96. No, not even close. Watch this. Look at this joint. And now look at this bushing. Look at this bushing. That's not good. Well, maybe it's just one side. So it's the same thing. All the bushings are shot. These are notorious. And this knuckle is discontinued. not available. This is one of the biggest delays. We had to find a company, I believe they're out of South Africa or something like that. They manufacture these bushings for Toyota, apparently. We're able to buy the bushings off of them. There's a lot of knockoffs available, but I wanted to get the original one because this is a very strange bushing that pivots. So you have to get the right one here. This one is a standard bushing. So we're gonna have to experiment with that. That is a much later part. Right now, let's get the important bit. I am slightly, I feel like, I don't want to say I'm slightly cheating because I am. We're starting with the part I like. Don't like suspension work. I like engine work. We're starting with that. All this leak, all this oil you see is a valve cover. If you look all the way at the top, it is literally covered with oil from the top. Hope you can see it. It's very hard to show right there. No, go back. It's gonna be very hard to show you. But it's leaking all the way from the top. And now I just realized that it's missing this piece. It's been so long that we started ordering parts for this. I might have gotten it. I'll look. This is something we can add easily. I know the big cover is missing here, but we may have gotten one for this. I have to look. It's been so long that I wrote the estimate for this and we approved it. We've been looking for specific parts and everything else just came in. But while this drains, I'm gonna get the transmission cooler lines out. Out. Those are surprisingly in a really good shape. Feel like they've been replaced. So let's get this hose out. And the best way to do this, put a bolt and then put the clamp back. That'll hold it from dripping. Put the clamp back on it. We're done. Now the other side, I do save these caps that come with new radiators, so we can cap it. It'll still drip every once in a while, but not as bad as wide open. So now, this one doesn't reach there. I'm gonna wait. I'll do the same thing here. Pretty much ready to come out with this radiator. Just hoses, of course, at the top. We'll go for it. I believe we are also replacing some of these arms. This one is. Yeah, that one is completely torn. I hope you can see it right here. Yeah, I've seen better days. You can see the giant tear at the bottom. Yeah, that's not a very happy bushing. I hope you can see it. Yeah, I can see it on camera now. And a few other odds and ends here and there. We'll get to the suspension when we get to it. Let's get this radiator out. Before we actually get the radiator itself, I'm gonna get some of the hoses out, which they're all retiring. Yeah, this hose was barely holding on to anything. And when you pull a radiator hose like this, it is never good. And this hose is done. Yes. And then this one. And this particular car has one more hose on the side. Now the radiator, unfortunately, we're getting is not original. They are discontinued. I feel like this is gonna break. Wow, it didn't break. I'm surprised. I'm deliberately being forceful on it. Now we're replacing it. Didn't break. If I was very careful and trying to save it, it would have broke. And that's how this usually goes. I think we'll be okay. This will not be in our way, hopefully. Okay, I think we're ready to come out with this radiator. Let's see if she cooperates. Yes, she is very nice. Except the not nice guy that forgot to unplug the sensor at the bottom. Temperature sensor. Forgot it. We got it. Yeah. It's been here for a minute. Original radiator. So, do have to actually remind myself to get a bottom part of the shroud. That's the nice thing about these newer cars with mechanical fans. They don't have this anymore. You can pull the bottom part of the shroud and you can pull the radiator without disconnecting the fan. Like if you go to newer trucks from Toyota and Lexus, they don't have that anymore. Let's see if we can use the strength of the belt, which I doubt because the tensioner is very weak. If we can use it to break these loose. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. I figured. So in that case, let's get the belt off. Let's get the tensioner. It's gonna spring back. Not worried about the tensioner. We are replacing it. You don't want to do that to a tensioner. Belt, not terrible. Definitely, this color when you see it, it's been here for a while, but it's not the worst belt I've pulled out of a car. It's not the best either. This is actually the right tool for this. This kind of holds the fan in place as you That's the fan. Now I think it's time to disconnect the battery. This is gonna be good night for a while for this car. We actually drove it in. It runs, but lots of noises when it runs. So this is good night until you are fully restored to your former glory. Probably gonna end up pulling this battery at some point, but for now, let's get this out. Ooh, that doesn't sound very happy and definitely has play. Listen to that. We're gonna replace that one. This one we already have. Yeah, that have seen better days. This one we're replacing, but it's a little loud, ain't it? Compressor. This one we might have to also, yeah, that's not good. Compressor itself is fine, but the bearing is not. Power steering pump we are replacing. Alternator has been replaced at some point, so it's good. Well, there's only one way forward. Let's do it. These are the power steering pump hoses, the idle up. We're gonna remove these covers, and we do have these lines in our way, which I think I'm gonna pull out of the way. That should give us enough space. So here's the cool thing about this. It doesn't have, this cover goes all the way across and it covers everything at the same time. So this was a very interesting design for the time. Older generations that have worked on distributor cars will think this is not a distributor car, but it's a very strange distributor because there's really nothing to it. It's basically a distributor with a cam sensor, and it just sits on the cam gear. It's a pretty interesting setup. You'll see it if you've never seen this. It's very cool. Are you ready for the distributor? Didn't think there was a distributor here, but there is actually. I'm able to get this out. There you go. Would you look at that distributor? Very strange. It's actually, I call it a distributor. It actually is not. It's just the rotor is connected to the cam gear, and it turns inside that little cap, and that's it. That's the distributor for you. Let's see. It's gonna get loud here because it's very cold outside. It's actually the very first very cold day in Chicago area, and the heater will come on. So we have a decision here to make. Work cold with good audio or work comfortable with bad audio. Sorry guys, first cold day of the year. You're gonna have to live with us here with the noise. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with one side. Let's start with this side. Just for the fun of it. This is actually the fun side. No, there is bolts, another bolt somewhere. There it is. I gotta get this harness out. This is that cam sensor I was telling you about, which this connector is completely destroyed. So, gotta be real careful with these because they're one touch away from breaking, and these are kind of hard to find. This style connector. Oh, I'm surprised that it actually came off. Very surprised. Coil. Oh, give me more space. I can't see. There we go. I think we're ready to pull this cover off. There we go. See if we, gotta get this harness. This is the same thing on the LS430s. This setup, cam sensors here, passes through this grommet. So I have to pass the wire through, just like that. Yep. That was just a bushing. So there's a bushing here. This one fell. And actually get it. Fell right in our coolant. But there it is. All these covers will clean them. So this bushing just sits here, just so when you tighten it, it wouldn't. This one has a crack. Not a huge issue. We can live with that, but I am going to put this here. Now we gotta get this side, which this side has a coolant hose. Oh, this one was loose. It's interesting. I think that's it. Don't see anything else. Oh, this is a giant one. See, I'm already forgetting. It's been a minute. Let's get the thermostat off. Yeah, see the color of the coolant does have a little bit of discoloration, but nothing crazy. So I'm gonna get this hose out. Tiny little coolant hose. I think that's good. That's good right there. I feel like we should remove the coil, which has one bolt holding it, maybe two. Now we gotta go off memory because I don't remember. Full disclosure, I do not remember. I think it had one bolt. This one. Oh, it has two. I see them. I see them. There we go. These coils we are also replacing. Especially that one in the back gets covered with oil. And if you're going to replace one, replace both. I wonder if this is original. It's hard to tell until we get it out. Not too worried about the wires. We're replacing those as well. I am worried about the connectors, which are, this is for the cam sensor. It's broken. Let's see if some of these connectors are still available. And this one is, yep. I was just about to say it. More than likely gonna break. Yep, it broke. Yeah, that's original. That's pretty cool. That is original. There's that idler. Do have to pull this harness off of this cover. It's gonna be pretty scary. Nope, that actually came out. I'm surprised. Very surprised. It's the one thing with these LS400s. The harness loves to get super brittle. Now our cover, we have a few more 12s. Now it should come off. Should. That's the key word here. Very tight. Alright, well here's this cover. Now, timing belt. Not too bad. Not too bad. Belt don't look terrible, but we got this far. Of course, we're getting a new one. Get this thermostat housing out of the way. Small hose. I think that's, once we pop it out, which this one is definitely going to give us a fight. Just hope we win this fight. This does have sealer, so it's gonna be boom, go. This always gives you a fight. It's stuck there. That's the problem. Stuck on that O-ring. These love to break, so if you're ever doing one of these, you gotta be careful. The problem is, like, you can't get a good grip on it. It's not working out. It's not even moving. Negotiations are not going well. You're gonna have to let this one soak a little bit, because it's the O-ring that's stuck. That's why we can't move it. Gotta let it sit. We'll come back to it. I don't believe in this stuff. It just never works. Something seized, something seized. I'm gonna put no magical fluid to make it unseize. We'll come back to it. Get the power steering pulley off. There we go. That power steering pump we are replacing. So we're good. This pipe, eventually we're going to have to get it off, but for now I'm going to pull the distributors and the caps, which means let's pull spark plug wires. Not worried about these wires, we are replacing them. So just pulling them out not the right way. You don't want to yank on the wire like that. These should have a date on them, 2013, so they are not original. Well, that's good. At least somebody's been here. So this is going to come with the new wires. Get the other side. These are loose. Also loose. No, this one comes with it. Cool. This one should also come with it if we take the 10 mil. Yes. Okay, well, that's loose. The cap's off. First cap, and that's this strange distributor. There's actually nothing in it because there's a cam sensor here, similar to the LS430, that goes to the back. This one has two though. LS430 will have one, and then the rotor. That's it. So the maze. You have to disconnect the other coil. Other coil sits right here. Once I see where the tab is, where are you, tab? Oh, the tab is on the side. That's why I can't see it. There we go. So now, just a matter, I don't recall if this comes with it or not, with the wire set. If this one doesn't come with it, let's put it to the side. All right, here's the giant spider nest. We can pull our rotors. There's one of them. There's the other. And then the distributor housing. We call it distributor housing. It's actually just a little bracket. There it is. For the older folks out there that are used to distributor, this is a distributor for these. There isn't actually much to it, but a sensor. This is a standard cam sensor from a modern car. And they just put it in a housing. It's a very simple setup. Same thing on the other side. There it is. They are labeled left and right. So you don't have to worry about labeling them. Now that we got to this point, I think it's time for us to pull the alternator out, pull this out, and then we move on to the other side. Got to pull the compressor down, pull this out, and then we're ready to come out with our timing belt. Let's get this alternator not completely out of the car. You don't need it. Well, that's not good. If that breaks, we got some problems. Let's see, negotiations. Came right out. Here it is. Pull thread. It's good. Not bad. Not bad at all. I technically don't need to remove the whole alternator out of the way. Just need to set it down here so it would clear this stud. See how the tensioner there sits, it overlaps the tensioner. Should be 112 at the bottom, and it's out, which is this one. So this tensioner, I have something else. Some reason it's either stuck or I'm losing my mind. Yes, there's one more. Slightly different tensioner than the LS400, fortunately. So, oh, I took a bolt I didn't need to take. That's why. So it's a different tensioner than the LS400, and they're discontinued. So unfortunately, the only one we have is, I believe, a Gates brand. Not my favorite choice, but better than this one, which is have seen better days. We're getting there. We're getting there. I think next should go after this rattle can, which means we gotta go up with the car, get the compressor out. I think before I do that, I'm gonna get this coil out, which has, no, I gotta remove the, it's easy to remove the compressor first, so let's do that. I'm gonna remove the side covers so we can see what we're doing. The compressor has 3 bolts holding it in this little bracket. I'm gonna remove this little bracket, which has a ground on it. There's that. The other two may be a little difficult for you all to see, but we're gonna try. There is one, there is all the way up there. This one out. Comes with this giant bracket, stayed for the harness. And then the last one is a little bit tricky to get to. There we go. That one actually can stay. And I am thinking at some point, probably do this off camera, just save you guys time. We're gonna pull down the refrigerant. I can do the compressor clutch in the car, but I prefer just to pull it out of the car and do it outside and take our time, not rush this. I'm gonna set the air gap properly. Believe it or not, that compressor clutch is available original, at least from what we're seeing right now. But This bracket is not, so we're getting an ace in one. It's basically the same thing. I'll slow it down. Let's get that bracket out. We'll get everything going. I'm gonna get my compressor out. I can't. That should be good. Now we gotta get this bracket, which means now we can take the coil out, which is covered in oil, which is never good. So you have 110 over here. And then there's, I believe, a 12 in the back. I can get to it. Either 12 or 14, I don't remember. I think you're a 14. It's a 14. Which is gonna fight us. It's a 12. It's just my socket was not sitting on it right. I don't recall. Compressor. Aha, there we go. Did somebody put a wrong bolt here? I have a feeling they did, because 14 is not going. 12's too small. It must be a 13. And a 13 is not going. Standard? It's a 14. Somebody really tightened it too much. Here we go. Oh, it's an original bolt. It's just not sitting on it. Here's the other coil. It's also original, but it's covered in oil. Usually when that happens, not a bad idea to replace it. Now that that's out of the way, we can pull the bracket. All right, here's that bracket. Yeah, that's, I've seen better days. We recently had a 100 series Land Cruiser with one of these brackets that's just completely locked up. Whenever you do a timing belt or something, check them. Although that particular Land Cruiser, you guys have seen it on the channel before. We did a head gasket on it a while back, maybe a year and a half ago. But the bracket pulley was fine, but it just decided to seize up after a year and a half. So now we're gonna set our engine to top dead center, start going after the belt. We are not, so the marks on this engine are here and on the cam, so we need to go one full rotation. There it is. You see the marks. One of them is right here. Right there is a little cut. Little cut in the line. And then this side, same thing. There's a little cut over there, and then the line. Now let's get our crank pulley, see how this cooperates. That is not happening. Let's try another socket. This is a weighted socket. Did you see that? There's something about sockets that... So this is a snap-on socket. Look how thick the walls are. How heavy this socket is. When you use an impact, the heavier the socket, the more force is going to put. And you're actually going to be able to get stuff loose better. And I didn't think that was going to happen. So now we use our old trusty Craftsman puller. Yeah, I actually pull this by hand now. And there we go. Now let's get our bottom cover off. Uh-oh, we dropped another one of these. You see them? But this one... We're gonna have to spend some time to find it. Actually, that's not what we dropped, because I see it right here. What we dropped is that little plastic piece, little cover. We're gonna clean all these. This is the one dribbling. That's what we dropped. This just sits right here. We got that. Tone ring. This is for the cam sensor. If you don't put this, the car won't start. You're gonna start this job all over again. So there are these ribs right here is what this sensor, so now it's covered in oil, reads off of. Now I think we're at a point where we pull the timing belt off. Tensioner, a little rusty. This car has zero rust, but this is just not painted, usually it's cast iron. Now, pull our timing belt off. And let's take a close look at it. Not terrible. Definitely when you start seeing the ribs like this across it, that's the thing. Every time you pull one of these timing belts and it has cracks all over it or half the thing is missing, you flew too close to the sun. So as I see this with customers, you know, they'll want to see the old timing belt. Well, here's your old timing belt, but it looks fine. Exactly. That's the point. If you pull a timing belt and it's all shredded to pieces, you went too far. You were too close. This is an interference engine. You break a belt, it's done. Let's pull this idler off. I don't know how is this idler. It's covered in oil, but it's a little on the rough side. Nothing over the top. Usually these don't wear out very quickly, but we're here. Might as well pull the other idler. This one. Wait, this one. Can you spin it fast enough? This one is definitely noisy. Now, see if this one pulls. See, this one comes right up. If you guys watch the Altezza, we were here for a fight. For a big fight. This one came right out. Very strange pulley, these openings. Pretty cool. That's where the crank seal is. Now we have our problem. Let's get back to it. Got to remove the water pump. In order to remove the water pump, we have to remove the thermostat housing, which is stuck. This is something with even with the newer, like the second generation LS400, they had a different design thermostat housing, and then yeah, loves to break. Loves to break. And this one is the same thing. So let's just negotiate away. Here's my negotiating tool of choice. If it breaks, it breaks. We got a new one. We have no choice. Well, what we don't want to break is this crossover pipe. Because then we're opening a new can of worms, if you would. Yeah, that's a good movement. We gotta see how it moves a little bit up. And we have just no room to pry it away. You just have to very gently walk it back and forth and give it some more help. It's gonna be a fight. Gonna move our negotiations to the next level. Gonna shock it. See if very gently. See how it's moving side to side? It's trying to twist it to break this O-ring. There's an O-ring here. That's what's holding us. If you see it, it's slowly starting to walk out. What I'm gonna do is switch chemical. Let's see if we can get the final negotiations. I'm gonna do the dangerous part. Definitely making progress. For those who are concerned that I'm hitting this with a hammer, folks, I'm barely putting any force. You're just trying to shock it really more than anything. It's coming slowly. Now we're coming to that point where I can see the O-ring. You see it right there? It's coming. It's coming out. There it is. I love that. Didn't break. Because what usually happens with these is if you're just hammering on them with all force, this will get stuck. It'll break right here. And this piece will stay here. You can get it out. But the worst case scenario, which you do not want, is this breaking. This crossover pipe. You don't want that to break, because first, they are not very available. Second, it's a little bit tough work to get them out, so let's not open more doors to other stuff. Well, now that we got this out, it's time to pull our water pump out. Let's do it. I believe that's it. That's all we got for the water pump. See if the water pump now wants to come out. It does not. Negotiating already. This is a very similar water pump. I think it's exactly the same to the LS400 or the 4.33 UZ, but similar. With these, I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. There it is. You gotta put your screwdriver here and pop it down. That definitely looks like pink coolant, unless it's red, was red at some point and it lost its redness. Here comes the rain. So what holds you on this usually is this O-ring. There's an O-ring right here, the bypass. That's what usually holds the water pump from just coming right out, because otherwise it's just a gasket that's holding it. There it is. Beautiful water pump. Now there's something about this water pump. It has sealer. Does this say ASIN on it somewhere? Doesn't say anything. A little bit of play, but it just doesn't look original to me. But at the same time, the sealer application is strange. Why do we have sealer here, guys? This comes with a gasket. Could be worse. We're gonna let her do her thing. Just dribble the coolant. Gonna leave that for a second. Let's take our cam gears and switch gears, start taking the valve covers off. Let's take our cam gears out. This is the tool that holds those. So make sure they're not loaded. No, they're not. Let's see if I can get a good grip on this. There's this one, and that's slipping. There we go. These are also labeled right side, left side, because this is where the distributor sits. Left side. Very simple. These covers off. Just the cover that sits behind the cam gear. And then the next one. All right, now we can go after our valve cover. I'm gonna start with this side. Kind of one of those moments where that's my decision and we're sticking with it, hopefully. You gonna stay? I have a feeling you're not gonna stay. Well, I can already see oil here. Now you see it right, there's a bunch of oil sitting right here. That's the spark plug tube seal. Now, what I don't want to do, I believe we have this hose, which is, of course, when you have the hose, it comes right out. Even though it's a rock, yeah, it's all cracking up. This thing is like rock. I don't want to disturb the harness too much, because these LS400s, not harness happy. Let's put it this way. It gets super brittle. I mean, I think I can get this out without, get this plastic piece out. This is what holds the spark plug wires. Leave this here. Well, I think there's only one thing for it. Let's just get the valve cover out. Okay, I think I got all of them. Let's see. Maybe not. This doesn't feel like it. Yeah, it's just stuck. See if we can give it a little bit of help. There it is. It's just, there's a rock that sits underneath it. It's holding it in place. This is what used to be a valve cover gasket one of these days. I think I'm gonna have to move this harness a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna move it from the bracket. Before I do, all this is just disintegrating. I don't know when it's falling. The engine, yeah, we're good. Yeah, that gives us all the space we need. Still tight. So, transmission dipstick out, engine oil dipstick out. There it is. Not too bad. Not too bad. Motor is decently clean. Remember, this is almost a 30-year-old car. A couple more years. Not too bad. Engine's pretty clean. I don't see heavy varnish or anything. Looks pretty clean. This is the best part about these LS400 engines, the UZ engines. Look at these cam lobes. They're beautiful. Not a hair of wear. Nothing. That's how these engines usually are. Couple things about the old UZ. See, this valve cover. Well, it's actually still a little bit pliable, but yeah, it's leaking all over the place. Something about these, the original UZ engine, so the next generation LS400 that has the updated UZ that doesn't have the distributors anymore, they don't have this. The 3UZ doesn't have this, but this one does. You see all the way here in the end, there is this kind of open journal. This actually has a plug in the back. It feels like they did that for a distributor and then they put it in this car. It's like, we can't put the distributor there. I feel like that's what the original intent was. Because all the engines that has this, when they upgraded the engine and they got away from distributors, they put a big round plug. Let's pull it out and let's show you, because if you don't replace this, you're gonna have problems. Let's put it this way. It's basically a cam cap that has no cam, because it's basically a cam cap. It's even machined as a cam. It's machined with a cam, but it has nothing. But what it does have is this little rubber plug. So this is the irony of this. See this little rubber plug? See how this is covered in oil for this leaking? This is the outside. I've seen technicians, they'll take this out, they'll put sealer around it, put it back. Why? Get a new one. This is one of these things. You could have this entire job fail because this leaked, and you're trying to put sealer on it, just replace it. It's not worth it. Now another thing we're gonna do is over here, this area. See how it has all this grime on it? Same thing here. This cap has a cam seal, but it also has sealer on this edge and this edge, because we have oil here. We have no oil out here, but we have oil inside this cap because this is a journal for the cam. So we're going to take this cap off, and we're also going to reseal this. But before we do, because I don't want to take it out until we start cleaning, we also have a half moon all the way here in the back. Yeah, this one is on there. We're going to have to get another half moon here. We're going to take those out, clean them, and reseal them right here. You can't see it from the outside. There's a half moon there. Here's what we're going to do. Let's work on our valve cover. Let's prep it, get the seals out of it, clean it up, and clean it up. We have a new toy, which you guys may or may not have already seen if we released the video on it before this one. But here's something interesting I just noticed. Check this out. See how this seal's already popped? That tells me somebody's been here and they actually replaced these, because these are the original. They'll be rocks. We'll be fighting them to get them on. And look at this one. It just popped right out. And the existence of sealer, is this sealer? No, it's not. Somebody put the seal in and destroyed it. This is actually, I don't think it's sealer. No, maybe it is cedar, because I thought they peeled the edge of the rubber here. No, this is cedar. Somebody put them and decided to put cedar. These are not originals, I think. They have the strange appearance, and they're not supposed to pop out this easy. Let me put it here so we can work properly on this. Let's get these seals out. Go. The reason I suspect these being original, I gotta look at the original ones. See this little bronze ring? I don't recall ever seeing that. Maybe mistaken. We'll see. But I am debating, leave the cap or take the cap. Now, if this has a baffle, and this is what I got to be careful with cleaning. If this has a baffle, and this baffle is the type that is, see how these plugs, they kind of put the baffle and then bend this. You got to be careful with cleaning so we wouldn't leave debris inside. But you guys ready for this? This machine is just incredible. We need to get you a shot of this before we clean it. Not too bad. And this machine is going to make it look brand new. So, let's go over to our beautiful machine here. I'm super excited to use it. Actually, we just got it. As we're filming this video, we just got this machine running yesterday. Maybe we'll release the I got a new toy video earlier than this series. But let's give it a clean, shall we? All right. In the world. think we got. Line up for a second. That's it. I'm gonna clean so this is the thing about this machine. Before you clean your parts, you gotta clean the machine because it's gonna keep dripping media on it. So give it a quick clean. Now that we got our machine cleaned, we're going to clean our part itself. I never clean the inside of valve cover. That's a very bad idea. Just hose it down so you can get any media that made its way there. There we go. It is ready. You guys are ready to see it? I just got to dry it up. And then we're ready to show you the final product here. How about that, guys? Let's go take a look at it. Put it in the same spot so you guys can see it. I think that looks better than the day it came out of the factory. This is why we bought this machine. Here's something, if we didn't catch the previous video, because I don't know how the videos will come out. We are now offering this as a service at the shop. If you guys are local, by the way, our shop is in Illinois, Homer Glen area. That's suburb of Chicago. If you need this done, you're a DIYer, we can actually do this now. So give us a call, get in touch. We'll talk about the details, whatnot. But now this valve cover is done. I'm gonna pull the PCV valve, which is gonna not cooperate. So I want to make sure nothing got inside. If it did, I can just clean it. So I left it there intentionally. And this PCV valve is gonna fight us. Feel it already. Come on, PCV valve. You can do it. You can do it. There it is. Yeah, we definitely have some debris inside, which we're gonna have to clean. Let's grommet. I've seen better days. Is it gonna fall inside? I have a feeling it's gonna fall inside. Yep. There's the first piece of it. Here's the second piece. So make sure nothing fell inside. No. A little bit of water, which we're gonna let air dry overnight, and we're good to assemble. But yeah, this machine I am super excited to have. We're gonna let this drive overnight. I feel like we're gonna park this episode right here because I did have some news delivered to me a little bit ago. The bracket's available. It's not gonna be here tomorrow. Tomorrow's actually our other filming day. I don't want to take the cam cap and put sealer and then we have to wipe it off, and we're gonna stand on this project until we get it. The compressor clutch, we could not verify that it's actually available for tomorrow, or it's gonna take a week or two. This is just how this goes. I mean, you bring a car for an inspection, you can't just tear it to this level to check pulleys and whatnot. Didn't sound like it was loud, but you see it like that. We're at this point. It's a good idea to take care of it while we're here. And gotta order these two. And we got pretty far, I think, in this one episode, a few hours of work here. Next episode, we're gonna hopefully have all our parts. If we don't, we're gonna finish the valve covers, we're gonna put the water pump, probably move on to the power steering, because the power steering pump is right here. Before I assemble anything, we're gonna take care of this. And we're gonna do the power steering line, which is also leaking, high pressure. And now that I am looking at this, see, the high pressure line is leaking and it's discontinued. I tried everything to find one. It's completely discontinued. They're not available, flat out. So we got an aftermarket one. We have no choice. But now I'm looking at this one. This one is aftermarket too. So I guess Something with this generation LS400s, folks, if you own one or you're interested in one, beautiful cars, definitely the 400 that comes after it, a lot more reliable with maintenance, especially as they get older. This engine is great, but the newer version of it is better with maintenance, but this one is just for originality's sake. This is the engine that started Lexus. This is what shook the world when Lexus came out. This was the car. Not the first model, but still, it has everything from it, beginning with this engine, which is incredible how smooth this engine is. Even with all these issues that it has, and all the leaks and all the stuff, it just runs so smooth, and we're gonna demo that when the car is all done. But folks, thank you so much. I hope you guys are as excited about this series as I am. I am super excited about this car because every day I look at it, just sitting there in store, it's like, man, we gotta start this project. I love this car. I want to be working on it again. And that's, you know, you do this every day. There are moments where it's like, you're doing the same thing over and over and over. Then something that we don't do every single day comes up, and it's like, you get excited about it. And that's the beauty. We love cars. We all love cars. But working in this industry can be repetitive, but this is the moments we live for. Folks, I hope this video is helpful and informative. I hope you learned something new. If you like it, consider giving it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing to the channel. Check out some other videos. Until the next video, folks, may the Lord bless you and keep you, and you have yourself a wonderful day. Yeah, these are the parts for the car. That's not supposed to be like that. This is just 1/3 of the parts of the car. Most of these are very discontinued to make one. Yeah, there we go.